Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's Beck McQuilty here from the Frequency Soul Collective, and we have the beautiful Dr. Sheila Day from Well Wellness Team joining us today as well with her amazing team, banding together to create some amazing, raising our vibration together. That's what we want to be doing, and helping each and every one of you to be able to share this incredible technology that we have with others with ease because I see that sometimes people will put their own beliefs in the way of actually getting this incredible technology out to other people when honestly it could just be helping so many. So we're excited to have you here, and for those watching the replay, grab a notebook and pen, and I'm sure that you're going to be wanting to take heaps of notes. But for those of you who have shown up for the call today, we would love for you to drop anything in the chat that you want to ask, particularly in regards around the sales process and objections. Like, what are people saying to you if you're not, if you're presenting and then somebody's saying, no, look, it's this or that. They might have a reason as to what it is, as to why they're not coming on board. We would love to know so that we can help you. Both Sheila and I have a lot of experience in this space. I am a corporate sales trainer. I used to write and deliver all of my own sales training here in Australia, right across the country. So it's something that I know well. As much as I've tried to unsales myself, there is an aspect still of selling to this. And, I say that because I don't want people to be afraid of the selling process. And it's not about being, I'm not a salesman or anything like that. It really is just about sharing what you know with the people that really need it. So, welcome, Sheila. Excited to have you here as well.
Thank you. I would love to say something on the tail end of that because I
Yes.
am not a salesperson.
Yeah.
Sales makes me barf. I have two brothers that are very successful in sales, and it's never been my jam. And
Yeah.
when people approach me with selling me or closing me, I'm done.
Yeah.
So that isn't how I talk about this because what I have found that really turned things for me, because I actually started in sales, oh gosh, when I was a young mom of four kids, just trying to earn extra money. I just couldn't do it. I tried everything. But what really shifted was a few years ago when a technology came that just set my fire because all I could think about was all the people that it could help.
Yeah.
That's all I knew, and literally built huge team within 2 months, top leader in the company, had no clue what I was doing. I just knew I had something the world needed. And so that's what shifted for me. And that's what I love to try to help people understand is when you've got something, just trying to sell a pair of sneakers or I don't know, car wash or something, you're passionate about that. How well are you going to do unless you are a true salesman? But when you've got something that lights your fire that you know is going to change people's lives and empower them on a whole new level, how can you not talk about it all the time?
Yeah.
So that's what I think if people can wrap their head around that and get in here to their passion about this technology and how it can help people, it's going to change their conversations.
Yeah. And I think the thing with that too, Sheila, is taking away the expectation of the outcome. Because in
Oh,
sales, let's say I have this pen and I just want to sell you this pen. And I just know that I need numbers, I need, it's all of that. And then when I'm going to be pressuring, firstly, and I'm going to be inauthentic, and I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable. And, it's all of those things that selling can be. But learning techniques is really powerful. But I know that my goal is at the end of our conversation, as long as you buy this pen, that's all that matters. Whereas that's not what we're doing here. We're not doing this with Solex. What we're doing is educating people and telling people about it because I can guarantee you one thing: if you don't tell people about this, somebody else is going to,
yep,
right? And so that's
absolutely.
what we really wanted to talk about today was, you know, taking away the pressure of the sales process or the thoughts of, or the belief of I have to be a salesperson to do this. It's funny because I come from the opposite end of the spectrum to Sheila, where Sheila wasn't a salesperson at all. I was a very accomplished salesperson, and I actually had to unsell myself to a degree to be able to have the capabilities of working within this type of an organization, because people don't want to be pressured. They don't want to be sold to. They don't want to be, we don't want to create that for people. So I think that when we take away the expectation of the outcome, and that when the intention is to educate people and put the power back into their hands of what's possible, then we let them make their own decisions, right?
That's
So,
absolutely right. Something just came across my mind as you were talking, because I've had to do some shopping this week for some pretty big ticket items, like my refrigerator going out, my windshield breaking, and some furniture needing replaced. But what really made me upset was walking into a store, just wanting to look at things in my pace, kind of like when we were at the market in Bali, and everybody pouncing
yes.
on
Oh
you
my
saying, "Can I help
gosh.
you? Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Please get off of me. I need to look at my options and make my own choices."
Yeah,
So that's what we're saying here with the sales part. Don't be that salesperson, because it just turns people off.
absolutely. Just ask everyone to mute if you don't mind as you come on. That would be amazing. I totally agree, Sheila. Let me give you an example. I walked into a store a couple of days ago because my nephew wanted this fancy American water bottle, right? Had to be a particular brand. So I walk into this store and I say, "Oh, I see the one that he wants, but he wants it in black and they only have white." Nobody serves me, nobody greets me. And in fact, there was two people behind the counter, and she's talking to him and she's swearing and carrying on. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's actually really disrespectful, but okay." And so I look around and I thought, oh, maybe they've got more somewhere else. Now there's nobody else in the store. I'm the only person in the store. And they don't approach me. They don't ask me if I need help. There's nothing. So I walk up to her and I say, "Oh, hello. Excuse me, do you have this water bottle in black instead of white?" She goes, "No."
Oh,
And I go, Okay. Um, could you get it in for me?" And she goes, "No, we don't do that."
oh,
Now, this is $100 water bottle. I'm not talking about 20 bucks here. So I say, "Oh, okay." Because in most stores, they would offer, "Let me see if there's another store close by that has it for you, though." And I go, "Well, is there another store close by? Because I know there's one like 10 minutes away. I'd be happy to drive to it." "Oh, I'm not sure." She
oh
said,
my word.
"But if you walk down there, it's only like just down there. They got heaps of them. It's called this
Oh,
store." Completely different, completely different store, not their own brand. I walk in and they did have an incredible range. Not only did I buy him the water bottle, I bought me the coffee cup for my peppermint tea. And when I walked in there, the minute I walked in, I was greeted, and the lady she was by herself and she was right down the back and she goes, "Hello, how are you?" And I couldn't even see her. I was like, "Oh, hello." And she goes, are you good? Do you need something in particular?" And I could see exactly what I needed. And I said, "Oh, no, I think I can see what I need." She's like, "Awesome. Shout out if there's anything that I can help with." And I'm like, "Thank you." And so I grab the water bottle, I grab this, I go to the counter. By the time I get to the counter, she sees me, she walks straight up. Then she tells me all about how there's a QR code on the bottom. She's like, "Now there's a QR code here. So you need to go and register that so that you get your warranty." And she said, "See all the little bits of the cup at the top and whatever." And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "If they have a break," she takes me over to this section and she says, "These are the replacement things. You can actually get them by replacements and different colors and all of the things." Now, I had no clue what I was really even doing, but for her to give me that information and that customer service, now where am I going to go if I want to buy another one? Where am I going to go if I need to buy replacement parts or anything for it? I'm going to go back there. So funny, I said to Sheila this morning about, it's one thing about customer service, right? So let's say we've presented or we've spoken to somebody about the scanner and they've not come on board straight away. and you just leave them. Is that good customer service? It's about following them up and keeping in touch with them and showing them what's new. Hey, I know you haven't come on board yet, but I really wanted to share this with you. I have a QLA who's been not really utilizing the software a lot. And I reached out to her the other day and I said, hey, have you seen MindSync? She goes, no. And her business was really struggling. I said, I would really love to help you just with MindSync, because if you don't use it for anything else yet, utilize it for this. And she is so pumped and so excited. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sheila, we would love, just as people think of anything objection wise, to pop that in the chat, because I'm going to handle that sort of toward the end. But talk to us about, you're a practitioner, so you know a lot. There's a lot that you know that I don't know. Now, in all honesty, I didn't know anything really about frequency when I first came on board, but all that I knew is that I needed this, and a whole heap of other people that were out there needed it as well. So, talk to us about how you get to present, because I mean, in November you went from gold when you were here in Australia to pearl within 3 months. So for those of you who are wanting to really build this business, I'd be taking notes right now, because this woman has done it. Like, we've both done it, right? So how do you get out of your comfort zone, and what do you do? Share us some of your tips, if you would.
Well, I can tell you, for me, it's the passion, because I have a deep, deep passion for helping people set themselves free. It probably started when I worked as a paramedic on the ambulance, watching people so unempowered, given wrong information, and just giving their health over to a system that wasn't serving them. And it frustrated me to death. And I would educate on the truck, and I would get in a lot of trouble. But I don't really care about the rules. I care about the people.
Yeah.
And so then when COVID happened, and oh my goodness, I checked out of that whole scenario. I refused to take part in it. It's their reality, not mine. I lived my own life and just completely stayed out of it. But what I watched and observed in the world was just mind blowing. And I determined that that cannot happen again. People cannot have their freedoms taken away. They cannot be controlled by systems. It just can't happen. People being denied surgeries, being denied doctor's appointments, being denied medications. They have got to have a clinic in their own home. And I am so grateful that Lauren has taken a very, very complex, advanced, intelligent technology and made it so stinking simple. Anybody on the planet can use it. We've got 6-year-olds running their own scans. Literally, I've had a mama on my team pull up show their kids sitting there running their own scan. They do it every day. My glam babies love the scanner. Oh my goodness. So that's what drives me. And I have practitioners in my team that I feel maybe they get a little frustrated that I'm not talking practitioner talk. I don't want to talk practitioner talk. And I can tell you, Lauren does not want that either. He does not like it when we overcomplicate it, when we're talking over people's head, when we think we have to be the expert. Because what happens then, if I'm talking to a layperson as a practitioner with all these advanced terminologies and all these, big words, and scope completely out of their own education system, how far am I going to get? How am I going to help them, empower them? I don't want people needing me all the time. I did that when I started out, and it exhausted me. I can't take care of the whole world. And I can tell you there's not enough practitioners to take care of the whole world, because people were driving 2 days to come and see me. And I think that's insane. So my passion is every single individual has got to have empowerment in their own home. Is the AO scan the solution to everything? I don't know. That's an opinion. And I'm not making that claim. What I'm saying is what it can do for people literally changes their lives, their health. without being a practitioner, without knowing anything about quantum, without knowing anything about frequencies. They don't have to know any of that stuff. They push a button that says scan, they're automatically optimized. They listen to balancing harmonics that balance their emotions. Now they can reprogram stinking thinking, which is controlling their ability to heal or not heal. It's controlling their relationships, their ability to earn money. This right here controls everything that you are or are not doing. The only limits that you have in your goals, whether it's in health, whether it's in finances, whether it's in relationships, whatever it is, it's right here. It's not out there. It's not in anybody else's hands but yours. And Lauren has given us everything we need to balance those emotions, reprogram these bad messages, and clean up the system. Frequency medicine is the medicine from the very beginning of time. Everything that you see was created by frequency and vibration. We have something the world absolutely needs. Do I talk to practitioners? Yes, because it is so advanced and so intelligent. It gives us information that no other technology can give, whether they're a chiropractor, a dentist. I love giving dentists the dentist scan. I love giving chiropractors the comprehensive. They can see when my vertebrae's out. I go in telling them which one's out, and they think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Veterinarians have nothing that can give them information about their animals that they care for, like our scanner. Oncologists even use this scanner because the information is it is more comprehensive than anything else we've ever seen. So whether it is a practitioner, they definitely need it because they don't have anything that can tell them what this does, but a layperson can do all of this on their own. My patients have their own subscriptions. Does that keep them from coming to see me? No, it does not, but it gives them so much empowerment to do so much for themselves, their spouses, their kids, their pets, their neighbors, their friends. They can help the whole world with a little subscription. I mean, when you start thinking in terms like that, I don't want people coming to me for scans all the time. That would wear me out. And
Yeah.
anybody who's thinking that way, yes, you can monetize, but you can't help the whole world. There's not enough of you. You've got to empower people to do this for themselves.
I
Sorry, I
agree.
got a little excited.
I love it. I love it. And I want to touch on a couple of points of what you're saying there, because when we're working with energy and frequency, if you can imagine, as a person who is not a practitioner, going out there trying to educate on things that they don't really even know or don't really even understand or are not really even confident in, understand the level of the frequency and vibration that you are actually emitting, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that is what people are receiving. People buy from you because the energetics match, right? And so
Yeah.
if you're nervous, and nervous is okay, nervous is not it, but if you're lacking complete confidence, you know, you're talking about things you don't really even know about, and you're trying to make it sound bigger and better, you don't have to do that. Like, I have presented to naturopaths and practitioners that have so much more information than I do. But if there's one thing I do know when it comes to the AO scan, I know more about it than they do. And I don't even have to know a lot. Like, I remember a practitioner saying to me, Rebecca, if this does a quarter of what you're telling me it does, I am going to be super happy. So if you just come from that space of exactly what Sheila is saying and exactly the passion of which it comes from, that you truly do believe everybody needs this. They have the ability to be able to do these things in the, you know, in the comfort of their own home, even just from a balancing of emotions perspective, let alone all of the other things that we can do. You don't need to know everything to put it out there. But what you need to do is actually start to talk to the people so that people know that this technology is available. And, you know, when you're looking at building a big business, what I would go back and look at is, and audit, to be honest, is how many people a week are you talking to? How many presentations a week are you doing? And if you're not doing them, but yet your vision is to build a business, what's the story? Because I can guarantee you there's a story that you're creating about, oh, well, it's just, people can't afford it, or it's just the economy. I'm going to share a quick story. I was getting a tattoo the other day, and not the tattoo artist who was doing my work, thankfully, because I didn't want that energy going onto my body. The guy who was tattooing somebody else is telling everybody how bad the economy is and how he works maximum 3 days a week these days because nobody can afford tattoos. He says, electricity's gone up, mortgages have gone up, everything's gone up, food, and I mean, to a degree, he's right. Here in Australia, sure, we could buy into those stories. My mortgage went up $1,000 a month, let alone everything else. That was just my mortgage. Did I turn around and say, oh, I can't afford things? I went, how can I earn an extra $1,000 a month to make sure I'm covering my mortgage? How can I
Exactly.
actually get to a point of financial freedom that I can pay my mortgage out, that I actually don't have to worry about it?
Yep.
Right?
I'm listening to that Audible, the shadow work, and that was exactly what she was pointing on my way home from having to replace my windshield, which is not an expense I was real happy about, on
Yep.
top of the refrigerator going out. And it's like, am I going to sit down and cry about this? Heck no. I'm manifesting more money. Money's a
Yep.
currency, it's an energy. But like you were saying, it was the same thing with me opting out of the COVID business. I
Yeah.
just opted out of that insanity. I refused to take part in the mindset and doomsday. I had my own reality. My practice thrived. I doubled and tripled my practice during
Yeah.
that time. And this is when people were having such a hard time losing their businesses, losing their jobs. Well, what happened? I refused to take part and I refused to hold that frequency.
Yeah.
Same with that. The inflation is ridiculous. It's off the charts, but I still refuse to give into it and maintain that frequency. I won't do it. I am creating the life I want. And God says I get to do that every single day, every minute. I decide my reality.
Yeah.
And that's what I choose, a reality of abundance.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And the frequency that comes with that from passion, people will buy from you more out of your passion and vibration and your energy than your knowledge. I can guarantee
Right.
you. If
Yep.
you can know everything or try to know everything and do all of the courses and all of the things, but can I tell you, if you're learning everything and you're busy doing the non-income producing activities, which we all do. I've been stuck in it for the last little bit. Even we're creating a whole new platform, but to be honest, at the moment, that's a non-income producing activity for me. We could be on this call, non-income producing activity, reading a book, non-income producing activity. The only thing that's going to be an
No, not at
income, if
all.
I
I
could
just
just get
couldn't find.
everyone to mute, please, that would be really, really amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Sorry. Um, the only thing that is going to move your business forward is by talking to people that don't have the scanner about the scanner, following them up and bringing them on board. That is the only, doing a demonstration or, inviting people to presentations. All of those things will help to bring people into your business. But if you're not doing those things and you're busy doing all of the non-income producing stuff, and look, I'm not saying that that stuff's not important, but you need to balance it. It's very easy for people to do all of the non-income producing activity and make themselves feel good that they've done something. But what that's actually doing is avoiding what really needs to be done. It's actually getting out of your comfort zone because, as they say, there is no growth in your comfort zone.
That's absolutely right. I would love to share a quick little story. One of my QLAs was at the grocery store this week, and she's one that's been with me for a year, year and a half. And all of a sudden, she finally grasped the idea that she could build a very substantial business here.
Yeah.
She's one that has tropical bird rescue and she uses a scanner with her birds. But
Yeah.
you have got to keep your scanner with you. So I have one of the original Uliphones, and I used to carry it everywhere. I didn't leave my house without it. Well, now I kind of use it on my phone when I'm out in public. But you've got to have it on you because you never know what you're going to encounter. She was at the grocery store in line, and I don't know if it was the clerk she was having a conversation with or if it was somebody in front of her, but something was going on and she needed to give her some frequencies or print her a Cephi dot. And that person was so intrigued. They're like, what is that? They signed up that night. I mean, you've got to have it out. You've got to be using it. When somebody has something going on, say, hey, I've got something that might be able to help you. Run a homeopathic frequency or some other, do the whole complete set if you don't have time to find something. But
Yeah.
Cephi dots, keep your Cephi dots with you. Imprint a Cephi dot for someone and give it to them. That is going to blow their socks off. You've got to have your tools with you and be a product of your product.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point, Sheila, too, is being a product of the product and energetically engaging. You know, I'm sure you guys have testimonial groups, as do we. And it's like, how much energy and where is your energy going? Is your energy going into, oh, I can't afford this, and how am I going to afford that? Or what they're doing over there is this, and what they're doing over there is that, or that, you know, where the minute it goes outside of yourself, you know, you lose that power. It's like, what can I do today for me? And bringing that energetic balance, which we do with the scanner, obviously, which just reminded me because I got a flat tire this morning and then I couldn't get the fuel thing open. I'm like, I think I need to do it, even though I ran my scan, I think I need to do a good clearing and shielding. So I thought I'm going to press those buttons as we're doing this because it needs to be done like ASAP. But it's like, if you're in a store or you're going to meet with someone or whatever the case may be, and you get on a Zoom, let's say it's you and I, Sheila, and Sheila's going to talk to me about the scanner because I actually know nothing about it. And she gets on with really, you know, crappy energy. She's tired, she's lethargic, she just couldn't really be bothered. It's like actually, someone said to me the other day, she said, oh, I do this type of energy work that I think would really help one of my family members. And I said, oh, yeah. She goes, it's a bit boring. She goes, I kind of sit there like, you know, thinking about other, but it's really good. It really works.
Oh,
I'm like, no, thank you. That is not happening for no, you know. But if I could know nothing about this pen, but I'm like, oh my gosh, if I'm excited about it, there's a fire in my belly and I'm passionate, that energy that I have, it's like people say, when you walk in a room, people know, well, you know, me because I'm loud, but for most people, it's energetically. You can tell whether someone's got good energy or not so good energy, right? So that needs to be the focus. You need to be passionate about what you do and know that everybody needs this. And when you have that true belief that everybody needs this, you will work every single day to get this out to people, to present, to show them, to scan them. Because if you're not doing 5 scans and 5 presentations, absolute minimum a week, you're not building a business or you're not actually really working your business hard.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And your energy is contagious. Like she was saying, you attract what you vibrate at. And that was a really interesting lesson for me, coming from a whole history of trauma and poverty and domestic violence and things. And I couldn't understand why I kept getting more, because my brain was smarter than that. I'm a summa cum laude. I'm intelligent. How in the world could I keep attracting the same junk? Well, I didn't understand the laws of vibration. Now I do. And it was a lot of hard work. But once you raise that vibration to where you want to be, it does literally create a whole different life. The people that were attracted to that vibration drop off because they don't resonate with it. It's like the tuning fork demonstration, that resonance. So you've got to raise your vibration and really check in with yourself. If you are feeling off, don't have a conversation with a potential prospect. Wait until you've got your vibration where it needs to be attractive and contagious, because that is where the magic is. And I won't say sales because I don't like sales. I don't know. I have a thing about it. I'm not a salesperson. I am an empowerment queen is my name. I empower people. And so that's what we need to do. Is we love people, and that's why I love Lauren so much. If you know him, you know his heart. That man, and I was finding out Nikola Tesla was the same way. He didn't care about compensation. He wanted to help humanity. And that's Lauren, and that's us. So when you start putting that ahead of your own, oh, I don't know if I'll have the right answers, or what if they ask a question I don't know? Just tell them, I'm not really sure, but I just know this thing works. And let me show you something. Let me show you what I do know.
Yes.
Let them experience it.
I love that. Let me show you what I do know. That is so good because, nobody knows everything. They just don't. And,
Right.
if you don't know, there's so many times I'm like, I actually am not sure on that, but let me find out and I'll get back to you. But I really love turning it around and going, but let me show you what I do know. Because
Yes.
when you show somebody the scanner and you show them how accurate it is, it will blow their minds. So,
Yes.
Sheila, one thing, and I know that it's so funny because I do come from that sales background and you don't, which is why I loved the idea of us getting on a call and doing this, right? Um, we look at back in the sales days, we used to do like an upside down triangle, is what we used to train on. And the first part of that triangle was kind of, well, the first part of it's irrelevant to us, but it's really about that building rapport with people. And that is still relevant. You want to get to know people and show an interest in them because when you are presenting the scanner, like if I knew nothing about you and I just started showing, I could show you, but if I don't really know much about you or how it could help you or your grandbabies or your children, or, you might have a dog or a cat or whatever, then I can't really go into as much detail. So I like to ask questions just to get to know people a little bit. What is their situation? What are they planning on utilizing it for? Is it for personal use? Is it just for yourself? Is it for your family? Or maybe they are a practitioner. Or, what do you do? Finding out more about them is really, really important. And then from there, when you are presenting, and I really want to get into that presenting side of things in a moment, but when you are presenting, you can then relay some of that information that has come in out of relevance, not from a sales pitch perspective of going, well, you told me, da da da. It's not about that, but it's like, hey, when you mentioned before that your son has autism and he finds it really hard to focus, we have an incredible frequency. I want to show it to you. If you imprinted his water every day and then you could send frequencies to him at school, how amazing is that going to and make a difference to him? But how much better are you going to feel as a mama bear knowing that he's okay at school?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like I've got a girlfriend who her son has just come off all his meds for ADHD. And she's doing it all with the scanner. She's doing it, she's
Wow.
imprinting his water, she's sending frequencies to him. We've created a playlist and she's doing it every day. That's the stuff that gets me excited. But I only
Yes.
know that because I ask questions, right? And so
Absolutely.
that helps you when you are going through the scanner going, oh, you mentioned that you have a dog, and you love your dog more than anything. You could actually be running scans for him or her and sending him frequencies daily as well, like really making it specific to people and what it can do for them, I think is really important. So, Sheila, I was going to ask you if I was to say to you, um, oh, I've heard about this AO scan thing. Like, I actually don't know anything about like frequency or what is it and how the heck does it work? What would you say?
Well, I love to explain how the world was formed. Whether you're a Christian or not, you know that there was a creator. And the earth was not created by a magic wand or a snap of the finger. It was created by the voice, the vibration of that voice. Everything was created. And we were told everything is frequency. We know that it is. Um, it's like if you send a prayer for someone, and there's multiple different religions and they have different ways, but it's all sending intercessory for someone.
Mm,
That's frequency, it's
mm.
intention. It's the
Yes.
same thing with our scanning technology. It's all intention and it's all frequency. That's how we can send things to people or get information from them. It's the same thing as if you're praying for them or you're thinking about someone and they happen to call you or text you and like, I was just thinking about you. How is that possible? It happens all the time because we are all connected all around the world. And when we're in sync, we get it. If people that aren't really awake to all that, they're missing out on all the cues, but when you wake up to it, you got the cues. So that's what frequency is. Everything's frequency. The things that you see are actually a lower frequency than the things that you can't see. So that's just how I explain it.
And so, so if it's so this AO scan thing, is it like do I have to do it myself? And so what is it? I don't really understand what it is. Or do you do it for me? Can you just do it for me?
Well, I can, but it would cost you a lot of money. You can do it for yourself really cheap, and everybody in your household, your whole block, your neighbors clear across the world 24/7. And it's just information. It's kind of like a you set up a digital profile for yourself, like a cell phone. So if I were to call your cell phone, it would be international charges, but we'll pretend it's on WhatsApp. If I call your cell phone, it's not going to ring Debbie Jane Harris. Why
Yeah.
not? Well, because it identifies with you. It doesn't identify with anybody else. Is Debbie Jane going to be able to hop on and hear what we're saying? No, it's a secure line between you and me. This is
Yeah.
the same thing when we set up a profile in our scanner. There's a digital signature right there. It's just Beck McQuilty, all of her information. Our intention is on this individual, and all the information that we're gathering, kind of like a polygraph technology. It's asking questions, receiving information, and it just goes back and forth. Now, if I go and change the profile to my son's dog, it's going to completely drop you off. You're not involved anymore. It's going right to the dog.
Right.
So I can't explain cell phones. I just know they work. I've been using them for 15 years.
Yeah, right. And nobody questions that, funnily enough,
No,
because they know that it works. And so what about like there seems like there's a lot of information in there and I'm not a practitioner, so is it going to be really hard for me to be able to use it though?
no, not if you will not stress yourself over it. So, you've got some people that are information geeks and they like to have all kinds of information. Other people, it really stresses them out. You don't have to look at the information because the technology itself is so intelligent, it does everything for you. Now, if you want to play detective, you can go looking at stuff. And if you want to educate yourself, take some classes about all of these things, or go to a practitioner if you want to figure it all out. But you don't have to do any of that. You just push scan, and it's going to scan everything about you, over 550,000 blueprint frequencies that have been pinned, and compare those to normal homeostasis. It's going to find out everything that's not in homeostasis. And then it's going to automatically send canceling frequencies right back to you so that your body can make the self corrections. And that's what it's about. These bodies are created to self correct. We have to give it what it needs. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a practitioner. You've got something right here. You just push scan, it finds out everything that's out of balance, and it sends back what your body needs to correct itself. And what I really love now, when we optimize with that, you can go in if you're dealing with something kind of serious or something that's kind of troubling, you can go back every hour and hit that optimize, and it remembers exactly what your body's needing so that it can fix the situation you're dealing with.
I love
That's
that.
how easy it is. Yeah,
Yes, beautiful. And I think that, as we were saying before, keeping it really simple is really important. And that's exactly what you've done there. You haven't gone into the bits and bobs and da da da. It's actually really quite simple. It's a tool that you have the power to take your own health and wellness emotionally and physically back into the power of your hands. And I saw on here just in regards to an objection that I want to cover as well, just in regards to the price. Can I tell you from a sales perspective that you will never get a a price objection if you build enough value. So
that's
when
it.
you're actually presenting it to the person, you're talking, what you need to really be focusing on is how is it going to save them money? Because I know the person who showed it to me, she was taking her two boys and herself once a fortnight to a naturopath and had bioresonance done. It was costing her $600 a month. For
Yep.
myself, I will give examples during as I'm showing people. Let's say I'm showing them the comprehensive scan. I'll say, hey, my daughter, when she fell on the trampoline one time, she fell, but her pain was in her wrist. We got to the hospital, but I'd scanned her first and it was flagging all inflammation in her elbow. So I knew the elbow was the issue. We've got in there, they've scanned her, they've said it's just a sprain, a bad sprain. The doctor will see you in a moment, but she's all good. And that's when I said to them, have you scanned her elbow? Because I know that the pain is in the wrist, but it's the elbow that I had seen on the scanner. Anyway, after a little bit of debating, they went back and did the scan, and sure enough, her elbow was broken. Now, if you think about that from a costing perspective for me, if I had have left that and not known and walked out of that hospital with a little girl with a sprained wrist, which there was absolutely nothing wrong with her wrist, that's just where the pain was, and a broken elbow that had done nothing had been done to it, imagine how much then she would have needed an orthoped surgery
Yep,
potentially. It would have cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. Um,
absolutely.
to see, I mean, not to say that you don't need a practitioner when you have this, but can I tell you how much it saves you on supplementation? It tells you when you need and don't need your supplements, how much it will save people who take pharmaceutical drugs. When they have a headache and they're running frequency and they're lowering it with homeopathics and getting rid of their headache that way.
Yep.
There's so
Yeah.
many ways to save you money.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I tell my patients, because it's not like I'm trying to work myself out of my business. That's not
Yeah.
it at all. I'm empowering people because if they came to me every single day to run scans, to get optimized, to balance their harmonics, to do their mind sync, whatever else, it would cost them a fortune and it would take up my life. I wouldn't be able to live. I mean, there's no way I can do all that. So empowering them to do all this themselves is going to save them a ton of money. And people who are already going to practitioners, and not just for like a frequency therapy session or counseling. I remember Lauren talking about was it the inner voice? I
Mhm.
think that it's mind sync, because to me mind sync was more powerful, faster than
Yeah.
years and years of tens of thousands of dollars that I've had to invest in therapy to heal myself.
Yep.
Mind sync right away.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So when you match mind sync with inner voice, if people just use that right there, it would change their whole lives. Their
Yeah.
health would start improving, because those two things are driving physiology. Not to say that they don't have some kind of chronic physical condition, but underneath of those, there is emotion and mindset. And when those are fixed, the body starts repairing itself. So the money that people save here, I've actually had people report to me, even going to acupuncture or different practitioners for some situations they were having, and the whole family was going. The amount of money that they were spending every month, now they're spending $149 a month for the entire family and
Yeah.
getting better results.
Yeah.
I'm like, for me, that 149 a month isn't even it's not even a topic of conversation, because my
I agree.
vibration is not there.
Yep.
Once my vibration came up to here that that's a mute issue, it never comes up. It
Yeah.
just doesn't.
Exactly. Because there's so much value in what we have and we would never be without it. And
No.
if it is a financial issue for people, well, then that's maybe where we need to be starting with them. Let's run your inner voice. Let's set you up a mind sync. Let's run a abundance playlist for you, like get yourself running abundance playlist to change your
Yeah.
mindset. Because if you're limiting yourself, you're also limiting the planet, right? Because
Yeah.
we are one, and so allow yourself that growth, allow yourself to get out of your comfort zone, because it changes everything. And
Yeah.
it could just be, let's help you find your first three people, and then your subscription's paid for. You don't even have to worry about it if that's your concern.
Yeah. Well, so two things there. I love the get three and yours is free. Some people have a hard time with that, but you have three friends or neighbors or family members that need this just as much as you do, if not more so.
Yep.
And it's getting past having that conversation. But not only that, it's I when I have to be honest, even as a practitioner and in the space, when I first heard that monthly fee, my initial reaction was my poverty trigger. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then what I said was, what subscriptions and monthly payments do I have that I'm not even using, or
Yeah.
that are not serving me the way this can? And
Yep.
so that's another question that I ask, if someone should have that, or my team that might say that's the comments they're getting. I'm like, ask them where their money's being spent.
Yeah. I agree.
Seriously, do they have a subscription going somewhere else that they're not even using? Which I
Yeah.
did, and I canceled them all.
Yep.
So I didn't even notice.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think when you can build the value in what we have you know, you even think about years ago, I had my daughter tested for food sensitivities. It cost me hundreds of dollars, you know, blood tests. I don't want to be putting her through blood tests. She's little and it's traumatic. You know, I don't want to be doing that. So really think outside the box and share with people how you're saving money. How is it not only saving money, but how are you creating a financial abundance for your future where we're earning now residual income that if the pandemic hits again and whatever, we get to still work online. We still don't have to go anywhere and our income is still coming in. You know, I'm about to head off for another, I don't know, a week and a half or whatever soon. I don't get to physically be in doing the yes, which is exciting. And I'm not going to be doing the income producing activities as much as what I would normally be doing. I will still be doing them daily, but not as much because I'll be traveling. But my income doesn't go down. You know, how blessed I was when, you know, trauma hit my family back in November and I had to solidly have just over probably 4 months completely off my business. My paycheck didn't go down. What an absolute blessing for that. How many people out there are struggling financially? You know,
Well, I'd love to say a couple things in there. For one the last thing that came through my head because I forgot the first one, but we're dealing with people a lot of times that have had some experiences with maybe some network marketing or multi-level marketings, and they've all got their own opinions about that. But what I have noticed is even friends that I've had that have been pretty successful in other companies, they have to have huge organizations to have that kind of income.
yep,
This here, people don't have to do that. I'm telling you, with a very few amount of people, with way less work than I've ever seen in any company and way less people, we make way more money because that is Lauren's heart. He doesn't want all of that money. He doesn't have any need for it. His whole mission is, like I explained, of putting the power back into the people.
yeah,
He's set. He's taken care of. He doesn't need it. But how much better is the planet if we can help people be free? Because if you are not financially free, you are in bondage under someone. And that is not okay with me. I just can't have it. And I don't want it for others. If you're fine with that, that is your journey and your business. And you're not someone that I need to coach. But most people don't realize that they can be free. When I was in bondage, I didn't get it either. I thought, I had to go work for somebody else all the time. They determined when I missed my family and when I missed holidays and birthdays, because I literally worked myself to death. And
yeah,
I didn't get any wealthier, and I certainly didn't get free. And I'm so glad for that light bulb that came on. And God worked on my heart for a long time. And what He showed me through network marketing is that is the only answer to true freedom.
mhm,
You get to determine your worth. You do. Someone else doesn't tell you that you're worth this every hour.
yeah,
I knew I was worth way more than that.
yeah. Absolutely. And I think that, you know, our conditioning right from school, you know, where we learn that you must work hard and you must do this and do that, and then you will earn, and then you will get the rewards, and you can work for this period of time, and then you can relax when you're 70 or 75 or whatever. And I'm
75.
just like, I'm not about it. I don't want
No.
to. You know, I mean, I've always worked for someone. I've always been an employee until I leapt out and did it on my own. And it was weird because both of my parents worked for people. My dad was entrepreneurial, but he worked for people. And in the book that we're listening to in the June Blitz, which I've forgotten the name of, but I'll tell you in just a moment when I bring it up, it for me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it is mind blowing. It's called, so it's by T. Harv, you know, T. Harv Eker, is that his name? Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And it goes through about all the blueprint and the things that we're taught as children that we hear about money. And, you know, I've heard sort of that before in other books. And I'm like, oh yeah, but my parents never really, I'm like, my parents were not super well off, but they were very comfortable when I was growing up. So I never really had that. And I used to just really bypass it. But this book actually really gets you to hone in on it And it was like, how much were they saving? How did they teach you how to save? It's not just about language about money. It's what are you being physically seeing and living in at the time. So it's that conditioning that you choose or not to break away from.
Yeah.
And, we choose to break away from, the certain parts of the goings on of the world. But are you still being conditioned to what is possible for you? Because so much is possible if only we just get out there and do the work. And it's like that. What I see also, Sheila, is the momentum. If you're just doing your business kind of whenever you feel like it and when it pops up, can you imagine the energies of that? The energy
Yeah.
is low, and then you meet someone and you go, oh, there's a prospect and a possibility. So you work with that, but then you don't hear from them for a few days. And then you email them or message them and you talk to them, and then you're excited again, and then you're not. But if you're constantly working on your business, you're presenting, that's the energy that is going to get you the momentum that you need to succeed. If you're working on
Mhm.
it in the pockets of your time, or it's just a whenever, or it's just a nice have, it's never going to get to where you need it to be because your intention and your behaviors are not there.
You just made me think of another great book, Grant Cardone's 10x is easier than 2x. And it is so true. If you are really passionate about something, that momentum is going to build so much faster than if you're just kind of half half in and
Yeah.
out. And again, it's still going to affect your vibration. If you're like, I might talk to somebody once in a while, what kind of vibration is that carrying? As opposed to someone that's like, oh my gosh, the entire world needs this. I have to get the word out because if I don't tell them, who will? Or, the fact that there's how many billions of people on the planet?
Yeah.
And your people are looking for you, but they can't find you if you're not getting yourself out there. If you're not getting information out, whether you do live events or booths, or if you like social media, which happens to be my happy spot, people have to see the information. They have to see you. You've got to get yourself out there. Another thing I want to talk about with follow up is, you've had a conversation with someone, and that's what I love about these business planners. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to Beck and Jess for creating these because they are a game changer where
Yeah.
I could now start taking notes. I had a conversation with this person. They were interested. Was it the wand? Was it the mat? Was it the scanner? I notate that, the date, what was going on with them. Did they ask me to follow up with them in 3 months? Maybe somebody's waiting on an insurance claim. Maybe somebody's just had a family tragedy. Maybe somebody's got something else going on, but I notate that. And
Mm.
then going back to follow up with people, different than the sales approach of
Yeah.
I've got to make this sale. I've got to make this sale.
Absolutely.
The approach of, hey, we had this conversation back then, and I just wanted to follow up and see where you're at right now, if you had any questions that might have come up, if you wanted to look at your scan again, or where are things. I can tell you, I do this on a regular basis. I have never ever ever had someone treat me like they thought I was hounding them. They
No.
have always been grateful. They have thanked me for following up instead
Yeah.
of just dropping them, like you were talking
Yeah.
about the clerk at the store.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. So I think, if we look at it from a system perspective, we have in our business planners the ability for you to be able to write your list. Write your list of people that you can just think of off the top of your head that would love, that would resonate. Because I always say there's three types of people. There's the people down one end that are super skeptic, not open, no idea, just, I just don't even bother with those people. Honestly, I just don't. The second type of people are the people who don't know anything really about frequency, do want to do better and live a healthier lifestyle for themselves and are willing to help themselves. They're the people who don't have that education at all around frequency, but are open. I will absolutely work to educate those people. And then you've got the people who are, in the space of understanding frequency, all of the things. And they are what we call your warm market because they already know and understand. And they
Yeah.
are looking for something like this, I can assure you. So write your list, write 50 people on your list and go through them. Reach out to those people and say, hey, I have something pretty phenomenal I need to show you. I would love to jump on a Zoom with you just for half an hour to run through it with you. Would that be okay? Just put it out there to be able to actually bring that energy in to hop on a call with them to actually show them what you have. I get details off people before the call so that I can at least scan them, run their inner voice, and usually they're vitals and comprehensive, but I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to overwhelm. But show them the Cephi section and say, we have the basic training. You actually get all of the basic training, all of that is included for free. And then it comes to the point of allowing them to ask questions, but build value when you're actually showing them through the scanner or you're doing a scan for them. You don't have to go into everything because you don't want it to overwhelm, but you do need to build enough value and overcome those objections before they are given to you. I
Yeah.
usually say this device was about 45,000 US dollars for practitioners to purchase into a clinic. Now it's
Yeah.
a handheld that we actually have the ability for a very small cost monthly to utilize in our home. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Gary has a question about a scanner. How do you present it to a dog owner to help them understand? Scan their pets. Show them. Show them how it
Yep.
works. My sister used to take her cat to the vet every 3 months for a checkup because she loved that cat so much. And I used to say to her, that's $180. You don't even have to pay anything. I will do it for free. So now
Yeah.
I scan him all the time. Scan them
Yeah.
and show them what's possible. And then
Yeah.
ask the question. Say to people, ask, do you have any questions? Can you see how this is going to benefit your life and how it could potentially change it? Honestly, if you just give it a go, I will assure you it is life changing.
Yeah. Um, I had a couple of things come up while you were talking. That was really awesome. Another thing that I try to remember when we're talking about dogs is the vet that used to speak for Solex, that he's had some things happening, but listening to him talk about how this gave him so much information that nothing else would give him and allowed him to save several pets that they couldn't find out what was wrong until they ran the scan with the AO scanner,
Yeah.
because their technologies are not, there's nothing that can touch what our scanner touches in terms of information. It's
Yep.
information technology, and it is so much information. Another thing, when we were talking about our audience, I get some people that they will work and work and work with someone who continues to ask the wrong questions, or like you can tell that they're skeptical, they're not buying it, and yet they keep coming back with these questions. And I'm like, that is not your person.
Yep.
Shut the door right there. They
Yep.
are draining your energy. They're
Yep.
not, they don't get it. You don't waste your, here's one of those non-income producing activities.
Yep.
Yeah. They're
I
not your
agree.
person. Your people are waiting for you when someone gets what you're saying, or they have an interest that they're asking curiosity questions instead of skeptic questions. Those are the people you invest in.
Yep. Absolutely. And the thing is too, talking to people who might, there's a lot of hype and but you're just kind of not getting anywhere. It's almost like the opposite end of the scale where people have a lot of capabilities and um but they're not doing anything with it. It's like, move on. Match
Yeah.
people's energy where they're at,
Yep.
and work with them when they're and answer their questions when they're energetically engaged. Like I talked to a lady yesterday, sent her some information, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is just mind blowing to me. So her and I are hopping on a call today. I've done her scans. We'll go through them and I'll just onboard her because that's what I know the process to be. I don't get to the end of doing all of that work and go, okay, then, well, let me know if you have any questions.
No.
Right? A lot of people do
No.
that because they're scared of the sales process. This isn't about a sales process. This is about you honoring your time and you actually honoring yourself as a business person building a business where you turn around to somebody and say, are you ready to get started? Let me show you the options.
Yep. Yep. And people want you to tell them what to do, typically.
Yes.
I mean, they're sitting there, and if you leave them hanging, they're going to be like, oh, okay. You got to guide them. And that's what you're doing when you're talking about, because I get that question when Solex asked me to do a business presentation. They're like, how do you close them? How do you seal the deal? I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I enroll people and empower them. That's what I
Yeah.
do, is I'm empowering people. I'm not
Yeah.
sealing the deal or closing them.
Yeah. But
But
you
I
do
can't
need to ask
empower
the
them.
question, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, without a
Like,
doubt.
we got to get going. You need this now.
Yep, it's just how you see it. And if you think that, oh, asking a question or saying to somebody, so let's get you started, let's look at the options and work out what's best for you. If you personally feel that that's a hard sell, then you need to do work on that for you, because it's not. It's actually
No.
doing the right thing by the person. And I've in my trainings, I've said many times, but I'll share the story real quick. There was a girl that I was training who was an aftermarket consultant, and they were about to let her go because her sales figures were not there. She was not doing the right job. I'd never met her before. I went to the dealership. This was in car dealer land back in the day. She was an awesome girl, amazing. She did her sales presentation for me, which most aftermarket consultants never had the courage to do, but she did, and she was amazing. And I'm like, is that what you do for every customer? And she's like, pretty much. She
Oh,
tailored it to each person, and she was doing all of the right things. And then at the end, and we got to the end, and I'm like, okay, all right, keep going. And she got to the end, and she then basically completely avoided asking any questions and moved the person on then to the next stage. And I said to her, do you ever ask the question? And she said, no, I'm too scared to.
oh,
And I said, I want you to practice. I said, because this isn't about you, this is about them. And you've done this
right.
phenomenal presentation, and now you've actually just taken it away from them to the point where they would feel uncomfortable if you don't ask the question. Imagine going through the scanner, doing a beautiful scan, and then just walking away from it. We don't do that. So make it about the other person. Don't make it about you and your insecurity. Just do the Brene Brown 1, 2, 3 and say,
Yeah.
are you ready to get started? Do you want to see the options? It doesn't even
Yep.
have to be salesy. There's nothing salesy about that. It's a process of what you're going to be, what you're doing to get to the end of that, to say to somebody, are you ready to get started? Let's have a look at the options for you. That is customer service. And do you know when
Yes.
she changed that? She was one of the top salespeople, and they loved her because they loved her anyway. They just couldn't figure out why she wasn't succeeding. There's another
Exactly.
thing that, and I can't remember the name of it, but I always use it as the analogy of the clock. And we talked about this at the Bali retreat. But remember, just because someone says no for now, like Ian was saying in the chat before, one, they could need more information from you. So say, is there anything else that I could share with you, or any questions that you might have? But remember too, timing is everything. So just because they said no then doesn't mean, and if you think of the energetics of this, energy is everything. The energy might not be right. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right until one day they go, I'm ready now. I have
Yep.
had that happen time and time and time again, all because I'm diligent with my follow up and I am giving the people the customer service that they deserve. And you
Yeah.
must give your business the time for that. Set aside the time every day, Monday to Friday. I generally don't work on the weekends unless it's like a call like this. Um, I would set out that time to actually do those things in your business planner. If you don't have the business planner and you're building a Solex business, you are missing out. I can
Yeah,
assure
for
you, you are
sure.
really missing out.
Yeah, for sure. And I can tell you, when you take your focus off yourself, which is what we're programmed, we've got our fears. And again, do your mind sync, change this right here so that you can put your focus on other people. When your passion is more about how you can help somebody and empower them to be able to take care of themselves and their families in a way that's going to save them a ton of money, and it's going to be much more beneficial and effective than probably all the work that they've been spending tons of money on. I know this is true. When you can see it that way instead of your own fears, that communication is coming out, because now you are making it about them, not you. This isn't about us. Now, a salesperson, like we were saying, it is about you, your quote, your quotas, your numbers, and that's all you're thinking about. But here, that's not what our heart is on. That's not what our mind is on. We happen to get blessed with a lot of money just because we love people and we want to help them. And
Yeah.
so think about the people, think about what you have that is going to change their lives and it's going to save them money. I wanted to say, even if I wasn't a practitioner, I have saved my family thousands of dollars because when they wake up in the middle of the night sick with a fever, we live hours from medical care. So that's not a fun trip to make, especially when you're tired at night in the dark. I can say clear across the state, hey, let me run a scan real quick and see what I see. Do we need to go to the hospital? Do we need to call an ambulance? Okay, well, this is what I'm seeing. These are some things that you can do for yourself. I'm going to build you a little playlist and send you some support. And by morning, we've got things under control with the dogs, the animals. You're not an expert in pets. You don't know when they're really in trouble. Things look really scary. Oh my gosh, they've got this thing going on. I don't know what it is. If I don't take them, they could die. Well, how many times do you take them or your kids and there's nothing wrong. And it's just a thing. And it's something that could have cost a half a day's work for the traveling. It could cost you several $1,000s in all the testing. What if you can just run a scan and go, oh, okay, well, let's try this and let me send some frequency support and see what happens. We have saved tens of thousands of dollars and lowered the stress, because what a responsibility that is when somebody's in trouble or they feel like they're in trouble or they feel their family's in trouble and they don't know what to do and they're scared not to go, because what if you don't go and something's really wrong? And so that is a heavy weight. It's been a huge weight for me. I don't want to be wrong and have a family member in trouble because I said, it's not that big a deal. Let's wait it out. Now I am so grateful that I have a technology that I can run a scan with confidence to know if they need additional care, if we really need to spend that money and that time, or if we can take care of it now. You don't have that kind of information unless you've got a technology that can do what ours does.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And there any questions? Any questions before we wrap up for the day? I know Maria had said sometimes she hears if it's like a prayer and just an intention, why not just pray?
Well, because I mean, you can do that. And Lauren has told us multiple times that there's going to come a day you're not going to need this thing because we have the ability to do all of this. Our minds are just not there right now. So when you ascend to that place, you don't need your scanner. But again, when you're praying, I love the comment that Joe made that you don't know what's going on. And that's why we have the Holy Spirit that intercedes for us, because we may be completely off base, but the Holy Spirit knows the truth and they take our intention and they fix it until before it gets there. And that's kind of what I see the scanner does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also gives
Absolutely.
us all that information too.
Yes, without a doubt. And Gary is asking, when you introduce a scan to a person for the first time, what's the most effective scan that you perform?
So I think that's a matter of personal opinion. I have my personal opinion that isn't the same as everybody's, but I like to do the easy scan. I do a lot of complimentary scans with the easy because you've got the inner voice, vitals, and comprehensive in 6 minutes. They've already received 2 optimizations and now they have balancing harmonics. To me, that is the most effective. It covers the most and it just gives them a big bang for their time.
Yep. And that's the quickest as well. I know that depending on the people, to be honest, for me, I will do the inner voice. And particularly if I'm then jumping on a Zoom with them, I will do the vitals and comprehensive, but I won't go into a huge amount of detail as to, I'm not there to diagnose or cure or anything for them. I'm just there to show them what is possible. So even with the comprehensive, I won't even go through the whole scan, but I'm like, this is, and I certainly don't send it to them either, except the inner voice. I do send them the inner voice, but I just show them basically what's possible. And then I'll show them through the Cephi section. This is how we rectify anything that's still out. So doing the easy scan probably is the quickest and the most effective. And then you can actually spend probably more time on the Cephi side of the section saying, so you could see here how your blah, blah, blah was out and couldn't be realigned today. That's where I would normally go to the Cephi section and you could have the ability to do this to rectify it. So
yeah, and I make sure that I put the plug in there that they've just received what would be equivalent of going to a practitioner for 2 sessions of frequency medicine. They've just received it. Didn't have to do anything. It's automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So good. So good. So easy scan for the win, I say. Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We've gone a little bit over time, but I hope that that has motivated each of you to get out there and talk to people and have the
Yes.
confidence. Remember, you will always know more than they do, so don't even worry about it. Yeah, it's been such a great call. Thank you, Dr. Sheila, for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This has been really fun.
Yeah. And if you've got serious goals within your business, please reach out to your sponsor or to one of your leaders and let them know your goals, because then they can help you. And that's really empowering as well. So awesome. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you, everyone. Much appreciated. And we'll see you again soon. Bye
Good
bye.
night.